you mentioned some potential surgeries earlier. It sounded like you were holding off until you're done competing. Does
Right.
this window give you enough time that you can get some of that in, or is it just really the deload you're talking about? Get as healthy as you can, give in your body right now, compete, and then the surgeries come later.
So it's pretty interesting because if things were not as they are currently, then I could get an elective knee surgery or two. But around here, they're only doing emergency knee surgeries, and I can walk just fine. So I have a torn meniscus in my left knee, and then arthritis in both the other in both knees, and then a couple disc herniations in my back, which I probably wouldn't get surgeries for anyway, but have a little bit more homeopathic remedies for that through chiropraction, and again, mobility and core strength and whatnot. And so the back, I think, is probably going to take care of itself. A torn meniscus isn't really going to heal. You need surgery to fix it. And even then, at this point, long term, who knows if it would be great long term. And so my goal is to just lay off the heavy impacts on my knees for about 3 to 4 months, let them recover a little bit, and then pound them for another 9 or 10 months after that. And then we'll leave them alone for a little bit until I get a little bit lighter. Because jumping up and down, weighing 285 pounds is, it can take a toll on them for sure. And so, I probably won't be able to get any surgeries because I can't do it now. And if I can't do it now, I don't feel like I'll have enough time to fully recover from it. So I'm probably in the same boat anyway.
So the thing I hear from everybody, whether they're an athlete or not, that the hardest part about this whole process is the unknown, that we don't really know when it's going to end or what the total impact is going to be. Now that they've made this announcement that you have a date that you're gearing for in 2021, does that help you? And are you a bit more hopeful that, I guess, this will be the happy ending now that you wanted your career to have?
Yeah, that's the goal, and giving that date provides a focus, because other than that, you're just kind of training into a vacuum. And it's really, really tough to do anything productive unless you have a goal. And so once you can set that macro goal, once you can set the long-term goal, then you can set readily achievable goals leading up to that. And so you set these little goals of, okay, increase aerobic fitness, drop weight from 285 to 255, increase mobility, et cetera, increase work capacity. And then you have all these little waypoints throughout the months. And then all of a sudden we get to August and September, you can start heavy training again. And you say, okay, get up to this point, and then get up to this point. And you can kind of work backwards from where the Olympic trials are going to happen next summer. And so having that end date can provide some very realistic short-term structure to what you're doing and give what you're doing a little bit more meaning, which in the end is the only thing that, keeps me from going insane at this point,
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, in terms of, because again, we don't totally know when this is over. Obviously, it's late this spring, summer, and we move back into normal life or whatever. But how long would you need to properly get, if the Olympic trials are in June of next summer, how long do you need the world to be normal and competing in other things and training at full bore with no restrictions to properly be prepared?
To be properly so I have a weight room so this is my basement where we're in. The other half of my basement is over there. It's a garage, and I have a full weight room in there. And so I can get as strong as I want whenever I want. I'm very lucky when that's considered. A lot of the athletes around the U.S. are training at college facilities because they're 1 or 2 years out of college. They had a really, really good career. Let's make a quick push for the Olympic trials. Okay, we'll just stay around in town, be a graduate assistant, do something like that. Well, so those collegiate facilities need to be open for them to do anything. Gold's Gym needs to be open for them to train. Stuff like that needs to happen. For me personally, I can stay in shape and do everything that I need. And if I can start actually throwing the hammer again by October or November, then I'm going to be fine. But unless collegiate facilities open up by August and September, it's going to be really hard to get a full year, 10 months of training into what I think that an athlete definitely needs that amount of time, 9 or 10 months, to properly prepare to reach his full potential as an athlete in June.
Nice. And then just lastly, I guess for you at this point, now that we have a date, what do you hope 2021 looks like for you personally?
Personally, it's going to be the same thing for me this year. I hope to hit 70 meters. I think, if I do that, then I'll have qualified for the Olympic trials. And so I think those two work together. But personally, I think it gives me an opportunity to potentially do even better. Because every year it's been a bit of a rush. You can't make any huge changes in your technique, because as soon as you change something in a major way, your performance is going to drop for a little bit. So if you want to reap the long-term benefits of that change in your training, you've got to be ready to go out and not hit the distances that you're used to hitting, because you're training something up for hopefully a longer-term benefit. So this is an opportunity for everybody, really, to take a step back and say, okay, this little thing that I've always known, like rushing this part of the movement or, whatever, we can actually take some time and work on that now. And so my goal is to potentially be better next year than I was this year, and not just push it down 1 year. I've got one more year. There's no reason why I can't get another meter or two better. And we'll see how that shakes out. If I can make top 10 at the Olympic trials, I think that will be an extremely proud moment that I can have. I've got a kid, my second kid, coming in June. And so that adds another little bit of, I've been training with one kid for the last 3 years. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to train another year with a newborn, and with not only a newborn, but a newborn plus a 3-year-old kid. And so who knows what that'll look like. But my wife has been really supportive of this the whole time. And so I've been really lucky to have that, because I can continue with normal life like most other people, but also train for the Olympics as well on the side. And so I think I can be better. I think I will be better. I think now we're looking at, a 14-month window where you might as well get better than you were going to get this year. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah. Good perspective there, certainly. For a lot of people, that's their dream, to compete at the Olympic trials or to compete in the Olympics. And for so many of them that have trained, as he said, 3.5 years since the last opportunity, or maybe 3.5 years for your first opportunity to get to a trials or get to a games, and then all of a sudden it's just pulled out from under you this year. And for Joe Fry, you heard him, his second child's going to be born in June, so things are going to be dramatically different. He's going to have to go back and train all over again. He's done this for 15 years. He's going to be a year older. He's going to have another kid at home that he's got to deal with. But the attitude there is, we're going to do this. We're going to go out with one more last run. And if we've got this time, it allows us to heal up a little bit some of the things that have bothered him during this 3.5-year buildup. Get those right. Improve the technique a little bit. Come back stronger in 2021. Try and hit that 70-meter threshold. And if he does that, he's going to make the U.S. Olympic finals in the hammer throw, which, as he said, there was his goal. Get into the top 10, be in the finals. And once you're in the finals, anything can happen. Depending on what happens and the conditions of the day, you'll see what happens, and you can see then if maybe you make the team and ultimately go to the Tokyo Games. Certainly rooting for Joe Fry. Really good guy. We appreciate his time. And we wish him the best as he hopefully sends his career out with a bang now in 2021.